Welcome to Scary World, where we walk you through the latest and greatest in the world of horror. I am your host, Arturo Padilla. Before we get into today's movie, we have one major rule around here: no spoilers.
Okay, I'm not going to spoil the surprise.
That's out of the way.
We got some rules around here.
Remember, folks, there are 5 categories. Every category can earn a maximum of 2 points. The first category is production.
Camera shy.
How good the movie looks, how good the movie sounds, the overall execution. The second category is story.
I want a story.
A story about what?
Is the script good? Is it coherent? Is the dialogue written well? The third category is ensemble.
Any of them move, you fry 'em.
Are the characters well developed? Are their actors doing a good job? Is there chemistry amongst the entire cast? The fourth category is horror.
Is it scary?
How do the horror elements fare? Was there blood? Was there gore? Was the movie scary? The fifth and last category is legacy.
Penny for your thoughts?
This is my overall thoughts and how does this movie add to the horror genre.
Showtime.
On today's show, in celebration of President's Day, we're going to be covering one of the greatest presidents in American history, Abraham Lincoln.
That's the last photograph Lincoln posed for.
Today, we're breaking down Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter. Per IMDb, the synopsis for this movie goes: Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States,
Abraham Lincoln said, "Ye shall not pass,"
discovers vampires are planning to take over the country.
A vampire!
He makes it his mission to eliminate them. Nice and simple.
I'm here to kill vampires.
Production.
Told you I'd make a movie someday. Huh?
This movie was directed by Russian Kazakh director Timur Bekmambetov. He directed Night Watch and Day Watch, these really cool, really awesome vampire flicks, and he brings that stylized look and action to this movie. This movie looked great, very stylized. He has this very distinguished look to his movies where he brings this very hyper stylized action and he mixes CG with it and everything just works well. It looks good, as I mentioned. It has wild action sequences. There's a horse sequence we'll get into later on in the show. There's also a really cool train sequence. He uses computer graphics to the benefit of the movie. I think he does a great job blending those effects very well. Sometimes it could be overwhelming to the eye. On top of that, this movie does a great job of editing everything very well to the point where it's a very nice, tight, and concise movie. It's very well paced, mixes action, horror, and real history. And I think Timur does a great job of keeping everything together. His film crew does a great job of shooting everything, of lighting everything, of making sure everything is framed very well. For that, this movie gets a 2 for production. Story.
Okay, what's the story?
This script was written by Seth Graham Smith. He actually also wrote the novel that the movie was based on. He's written Pride, Prejudice, and Zombie, the novel. Wrote the script for Johnny Depp's Dark Shadows movie. He also wrote the script for Lego Batman, and he wrote one of the early drafts for the upcoming Beetlejuice 2 movie. So this guy has been around for a bit, and he's done some pretty solid work in this movie and this novel included. The script smartly weaves fiction and nonfiction together. Aside from weaving this historical nonfiction with historical fiction, right? Blending that together and then sprinkling in horror all throughout very intelligently. It just works very well. It's a very nice, tight script. Everything moves very nicely. The movie's under 2 hours, I think an hour and 45 minutes or something like that. It's paced well. It doesn't feel heavy at certain points, especially with all the history being thrown at you. All the acts do a good job of bringing you all those expected movie action beats. This movie gets a 2 for story. Ensemble.
You don't even exist to me!
The entire cast does a good job with all their characters. It's no Daniel Day-Lewis performance, but the protagonist, played by Benjamin Walker, Abe Lincoln, He did a great job with it, as well as his direct support, Mary Todd, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead. She also did a great job. There's great chemistry between all the characters in this movie. There's great chemistry between the antagonists as well, all those vampires. They do a good job with making sure that the characters aren't too over the top or too serious. A movie with historical figures in it. Abraham Lincoln, Mary Todd is in it, Harriet Tubman is in it. It blends fictional characters with it, and it does a great job of doing that. So combining those characters in a script with the good back and forth dialogue and the good chemistry and the good development too. I think all these characters develop very well throughout the script and throughout the movie. I think they do an admirable job with the cast, and I think they do an admirable job with their roles. And for that, they get a solid 1 for that. Nothing to be ashamed about. Horror.
Because he was scary, that's why.
This movie is filled with blood and body parts. Unfortunately, a lot of that is computer graphics. I wish they would have done some more practical stuff, especially in those close quarter scenes with the combat. There's room for practical stuff there. Of the way Timur works and the way he's done his past movies, the CG was used. A lot of CG blood was used. A lot of CG body parts were used. There's this one scene in particular where Abraham Lincoln is just slicing and dicing a whole bunch of vampires, and the majority of it is CG gore. That being said, the CG gore doesn't take away from the movie. It keeps everything looking good in terms of what the filmmakers wanted to accomplish. There's too much computer graphics for my taste in terms of the gore. There are some scenes that obviously call for CG usage. For example, there's this horse scene, this horse sequence, where it's like a whole range of wild horses just running around, and Abraham Lincoln is chasing one of the villains. He's chasing this guy on a horse, and all this is CG. And this vampire, just grabs his horse and uses it as a projectile, and it's quite comical, but it kind of works. It only gets a 1. It's a solid 1 though. It still gets a 1. If it did use a little bit more practical stuff in some of those kill scenes where Abe goes crazy with his axe, that one brought it up easily to a 2. As mentioned before, the CG was not a detriment to this movie. Legacy.
What do you think?
I had a lot of fun with this movie. I really enjoyed watching this thing from the beginning to the end. I love history, and I love horror. So history in one hand, you have horror in one hand, and it's, in my opinion, brilliantly put together. This showcases what you can do with a smart script. It was great because it incorporated these real life historical moments, and it added horror into it. It added these vampires into it. I thought Abraham Lincoln was portrayed well. Like I mentioned before, it's not Daniel Day-Lewis, but Benjamin Walker did a solid job with Abe Lincoln. The movie looks good. The director Timur did a fantastic job with his style. I wish he would have used more practical effects for Legacy, and for the amount of fun that I had with this movie, it gets a big old fat 2. I really enjoyed this thing. So to tally it up, folks, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter received a 2 for production, a 2 for story, 1 for ensemble, 1 for horror, and a 2 for legacy, bringing its total up to 8. I really liked this movie. I had fun with it. People might see the 8 and be like, oh, Arturo, you're crazy. But check it out. It was my actual first watch of this movie, and I thought it was fun. Thought it was captivating. As mentioned, I like history. I like horror. All that stuff is great. Put it together, you get this fun, action-packed movie full of body parts and full of, CG horses being thrown at one another. Go check out this movie anywhere you can rent a VOD, especially for President's Day. Go check out Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Can you tell me what time it is?
And that's a wrap, folks. Happy President's Day. Thank you for watching Scary World. Don't forget to drop a comment down below and hit the big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to like everything on this page. Don't forget to tell all your friends to come to YouTube and check out everything under the CorpseFeed umbrella. We have Scary World episodes for you guys, and we have Morgue episodes for you guys. The Morgue is the official CorpseFeed podcast, and that you can watch the video drop here on the YouTube channel on Tuesdays at 3 o'clock. You can also catch Scary World episodes on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 3 o'clock as well. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share on all those episodes. Don't forget to send us any email at feedmailbag@gmail.com. Send us any suggestions you want. We'd love to review anything that you guys recommend. Send us any information, any critiques, anything you guys would like to hear. Like, subscribe, and share on all the CorpseFeed socials: Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok, Threads. We are there. Go subscribe, go like, go share, and remember, folks, it's a scary world out there, but we are here to walk you through it.
I just wanted to say goodbye.